Hi, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Matt, the creator of AirbnbUncovered.com and Airbnb Superhost. On this channel, I uncover some of the best kept hosting secrets, as well as share with you everything that I've ever learned after hosting over 3,000 guests. Starting out as a new host can be overwhelming. And I'm hoping that by watching my videos, you'll avoid some of the mistakes that I made at the beginning. There is plenty to do to get your home guest ready. The cleaning, the decluttering, the shopping. It can go on and on and on. But it doesn't have to. On today's episode, we're going to talk about 4 things that I wished I'd known before I welcomed my first guest. I'm not going to lie, I'm getting excited for you. I loved setting up my home for my first few guests, even though I made a few mistakes along the way. I'd love to hear from you. What's your biggest challenge in starting your Airbnb? Please let me know in the comments down below. Today we're going to cover 4 areas: home setup, pictures, setting your nightly rate, and selecting your first guest. Each one of these topics could easily be the subject of their own video, but for now, let's just go over the basics. Keep an eye out for upcoming videos where I'll go into these topics in more depth. So let's dive right into the 4 things that I wished I'd known before starting to Airbnb. The first one is setting up your home with the guest in mind. And this one is a big one. To start, remove any items that are of high value or strongly sentimental. The vast majority of guests are truly wonderful people, the kind that if you had time, you'd take them out for a coffee or a drink to get to know them. But every once in a while, accidents do happen. Or you get a sheep in wolf's clothing. I mean, a less than ideal guest. So make sure you protect yourself. Take out and lock up any sentimental items or high-valued ones. You can either buy a locked cabinet to store these items in, or take them over to a friend's house for safekeeping. One final note on this point is don't leave any documents with personal information on them around your home. Sadly, identity theft is on the rise, and you don't want to make yourself vulnerable to it. The next part of readying your home for your first guest is to declutter and clean. But when you're done, you're going to want to add back in some commonly used guest items so that they're not searching for them. But more on that in a second. Try to remove as many pictures of you and your family and friends and other deeply personal affects. One of my first 20 guests actually noted in his review that he was turned off by the pictures of me and my family and friends. Apparently I gave him the creeps. I thought he was a bit over the top because I think a couple of pictures of you are okay. I mean, it's home sharing after all. Next, you're going to want to give your house a deep cleaning. Some people call it spring cleaning, but you get the point here. It's a deep cleaning. Clean everything. The dust under the sofa and behind the toilet. Wipe the insides of commonly used cupboards. Clean the fridge. Clean the stove. Get any mold and mildew out of your shower. You get the idea. Airbnb says that the most important areas in your home are the kitchen and bathroom. So you're going to want to put in a little extra elbow grease in these rooms. Once your home is shiny and clean, then you want to add back in guest amenities so they're not searching for them. Be it extra rolls of toilet paper above the toilet, snacks on the counter, or leaving the remote for the TV front and center on the coffee table, even though it doesn't look the greatest when it's there. At this point, your home should be ready for pictures. And pictures are prime. According to Airbnb, pictures are the most important factor to a guest when they choose an Airbnb to book. I pulled these pictures from 4 random listings on Airbnb. Here, you can see the pictures from 2 of the listings. One of the listings is on the top and the second is on the bottom. I want you to notice a few things in the pictures from these 2 listings. In the ones on the top, the ceiling lights are on and they're distorting the images, making it hard to see what the home actually looks like. In the listing on the bottom, the light from the window is making it hard to see what's in the room. Now, compare the pictures from these two listings to these two listings. In the listing on the top, the sun is coming in, but it's not overpowering. You can see the bright colors inside the room, and it makes it look inviting and clean. On the listing shown on the bottom, we see much of the same. Notice that the lights are all off in both sets of pictures. I know the design aesthetic of the first two listings is different of that of the second two listings, but this is just to give you an idea of the power of good photography. And for the record, the design in the first two listings isn't that bad. It just looks that way because of the picture quality. Let me give you a few tips on how to take the best pictures. Start by taking your pictures when it's daylight, preferably between the hours of 9 a.m. and 4 p.m., depending on where you live. You're going to want to avoid the yellow-orange sun that happens during sunrise and sunset. Absolutely do not take your pictures at night. And the best type of day for pictures is when it's cloudy outside, but bright enough so that you don't have to have the lights on inside. And one last tip, take photos with the lights off and then brighten them when you edit your pictures. Now that you know exactly how your home is going to appear to guests, you can research your competition and set your price. The easiest way to do this is to check out your competition on Airbnb. I rarely check the price of hotels. This is a misnomer. Generally speaking, a guest searching on Airbnb isn't interested in staying in a hotel. They're on Airbnb because they want an Airbnb experience. So that comparison, it's really invalid. Plus, you want to see how you're going to stack up against the listings that are shown before and after yours in search results, because that is how the guest will be comparing. Do a quick search for your area and then hone into listings that are like yours. So if you're renting your entire home, include that in the filter. If you have a one-bedroom, filter on that too, and so on and so forth. Then take a detailed look at between 10 to 15 listings to get a good sense of what people are charging. A pro tip here is to select weekend dates a couple weeks away. The weekend prices will be the highest charged by hosts in your area. Then set your weekend price around the lowest of the listings that look like yours. Set your weekday prices maybe $10 to $30 less than your weekend price, depending on your listing type and whether or not it's high tourist season. Keep this price until you get a few reviews. A lower price will entice guests to book your place even though it's brand new. Just as we're leery of guests who are new to the platform, guests are timid about new hosts too. A new listing is an unknown entity. So you want to attract a few reservations with a lower price to get some of those crucial first reviews. With a few reviews under your belt, let's say 5 to 10, you can start to increase your price to around the same as those in your local area. Look at these first few reservations at a lower rate as an investment in future profits. At this point, you're ready to welcome your first guest. Pat yourself on the back. You've just done 90% of the heavy lifting. It's now time to start selecting your first guest. Let me give you a few tips on selecting guests. I only host guests with a fully verified profile, and I recommend you do the same. Well, what's a verified profile? A verified profile is when a guest has submitted a picture of their government issue photo ID and has provided an email address, phone number, and either a selfie picture or a connection to a social media network. I mean, if a guest can't provide their ID to Airbnb, then I'm not giving them the keys to my home. It's as simple as that. Look, I get privacy concerns, but Airbnb safely stores pictures of IDs and they're not shared with hosts. When I started, I asked a lot of questions of my potential guests. Why are they coming to my area? Who are they traveling with? Have they read my house rules? And at the beginning, I asked even more of them. And I think that you should too. Ask as many questions as you need to get comfortable with a guest being in your home. Look, you're building a new skill here, And that skill is learning who you can trust and who you can't, which is infinitely harder to do online. To help you know which guests to accept, you can check out my 3-part video series on how to avoid the worst guests and attract the best ones. I'll link to those videos in the description. Now let's recap. I went through 4 things that I encourage every new host to do. And it's based on what I've learned from the time that I was first starting out to now after hosting over 3,000 guests. I covered 4 key tips. First, let your home shine with a good cleaning. Then set it up with the guest in mind. Second, take pictures during the daytime on a gray day. Third, quickly research your competition and set a price a touch lower. Finally, pick your guests wisely, ideally only accepting reservations from guests with a fully verified profile. This week's episode was just a quick overview of some of the most important things a new host should know. Do you have a specific question about hosting? Ask me in the comments below. Check back to my channel often, as I'll be posting more in-depth videos on topics like these in future videos. I hope that you've enjoyed this week's video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. I've got lots of great new content coming up for new hosts in the next few weeks, so be sure to subscribe to my channel and then click on the notification bell so you don't miss out on upcoming videos. Thanks again for watching, and until next week, take care.